All right, jumping on to talk about where we abdicate our power. And this is a big one. I'm still in inquiry around, and I just was called to jump on. And even just jumping on right now is a way that I'm returning to my seat of my power. Yeah, just trusting that the impulse to share this live is enough. Like, that it doesn't need to be planned out, or I don't need like bullet points of what I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to riff on what is true right now. And I just got done boxing. My husband has some boxing equipment, and I've only used it once, and he's had it for over a year. And this isn't about boxing per se, but this is about noticing where you abdicate your power or abandon your power. And when you notice that, what do you do about it? So I think I've known for a while that I've been abdicating my own power in certain ways, right? Like there are certain ways that I show up with power. But even then, it's not 100%. Like I can't even say that's totally true, right? Like I'm just trying, like the question I'm looking at right now in the face is where, just looking in the last year, has there been a place where I showed up with my full power? And I don't think so, because the answer, the yes isn't there for me. And I, the irony is like this has been gnawing at me for a while. And I think, my response to acknowledging that I've abandoned myself or abandoned my power has been to try harder, because I am, that feels like a powerful thing to do, to try harder. But that's actually not claiming my power. And I can say that there's been moments where I've shown up with my full power when I'm dropped into myself. Yeah, I've had moments of that, but almost as like it just happened that way, where I was able to drop in, versus like a very conscious taking my seat. I'm choosing to command, and to really gather all of my power and to like anchor into it. It has a different flavor than like, oh, I was able to like sit in it for a second, and that's okay. Like that's just been like what my journey has been this year. Learning what it's like to not be deeply seated in my own power has been like the journey of this year. And that actually, I felt some emotion on that, so that feels very true. And kind of beautiful actually at this moment. It feels beautiful, a little painful, but beautiful too. I've been learning what it feels like to not be deeply seated in my own power. And for me, apparently, I'll let you know as this unfolds, but it seems like for me at least, it takes a lot of like not knowing what it is, of like really, or like pretending to not know my power. That's more accurate. It takes a lot of pretending to not know my power to finally be willing to claim my power. I don't know if anyone can relate to this. I'm sure there are people who can relate to this. So, there's ways that have moved into healing spaces throughout this year, and, physically strong empowerment places, but really inconsistently. It's like just enough. Like I will do just enough healing. I will do just enough meditation. I will do just enough physical strength building, energetic strength building, like all the things, strength and flexibility building, whether it's like through my physical practice of yoga or jogging or dance, or hiking in nature, like all these things, and they're all so good. Like I did a great job this year. and and for me, the pattern is like I'll go just enough to not push myself. I don't like to use the word push, but like I won't break through to the other side. It's like this torture that I've like apparently enjoyed to keep myself in, of like I'm going to do 99% or 90, whatever, you know. But like I would say collectively over this last year, it's been something like that where it's like like I'm gonna push the boulder to the top of the hill, and then like right at the top I'm gonna give up. And then be like, look everyone, I just pushed the boulder almost to the top. Don't you feel sorry for me that I couldn't get it to the top? But I'm the one who stopped pushing right at the top. So I've been like really outsourcing my worth, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like when I get to the top, no one's gonna like even be happy for me at the top, or like when I get to the top, it's not gonna be what I wanted, or like, you know, just kind of like afraid of like who of letting myself down, of like if I get all the way to the top, what if it's still not good enough, or something, like not trusting that my power is really magnificent. So that's what I've been bumping up against. And yeah, losing a little bit of the thread there. But, you know, what brought me on this video was boxing and like feeling my power and my strength. And I also today I felt motivated when I was on my jog. Like usually I'll take a break at least once, sometimes more than once. And again, it's so beautiful. My patterns are even in my jogging. Like I'll jog just enough that it's like I feel like I'm really working. But that point where I could just 1 degree further, I always collapse back. Like that's my pattern. I collapse at the moment of truth. And I have a lot to show for it. Like I have a lot of efforting to show for it. I have a lot of passion to show for it, and like, and I have a lot of talent. Like that's like why it's so sneaky. Is like there's still like I still show up really good. I still show up really well. Like I keep showing up. Like, I can't say I don't show up. I just don't show up all the way. Yeah. And, you know, it's all been necessary for me at least, you know, and there's some places that, you know, where the pain's been so intense that it, you know, really helped me heal some things, which is beautiful. And now I'm just at the point where I'm like, I would like to, you know, continue healing. I think there's always layers, and I'm also ready for the next level. Like I'm also ready for the next level of me and my power. It feels scary to say, but it's just I'm tired of my own like bull BS. I'm tired of going like 99 degrees and then not letting that 1 degree show me what I'm really made of, and show myself what I'm really made of, and show other people what I'm really made of. Not that it's really more for myself, and it's about service too. Like if I really, really want to serve and do devotion to something, then I am collapsing or only going 99 degrees yanks the power cord out of that devotion. And it's like I show up with all this devotion, and then it pulls the power cord out. So I don't want to do that anymore. Oh gosh, it's so crazy. This, you know, we're approaching the solstice, and like this is the time to like really let go of whatever that, you know. I know that I've let go of a lot of things over the years, and this has just been like the log or not for me. And who knows if there are more layers to this, but there seem to always be more layers. But I feel like there's a real good amount of right action and like right power alignment that I have right now in choosing to dissolve this. Like this will no longer pass. And I'm sure I'll get confronted by it again, and I'm sure there'll be new layers, but this is like the line in the sand where it feels like I don't know exactly what it's all going to look like yet, but I just know that I will no longer let myself go 99 degrees. So I'm going to need accountability, right? Just like anyone who's being trained in anything like really Olympic. And that's what I'm going for is like, this is, I don't want to play in the minor leagues anymore. I'm like really going for the Olympics. And there's a time and place to be in the minor leagues and all the things, right? There's a time and place for everything. But I'm just really feeling the burgeoning, this like ready for next level. And I've known it's been coming, and I've just keep like walking up to it and like shying back and walking up to it and shying back. And part of it felt like if I walk up to it, doesn't mean I have to jump off the cliff into like a burning fire into the abyss or like something crazy dramatic. And maybe maybe there'll be mini versions of that, or maybe it'll be like sloping fields of flowers mixed with some mud crawling. I don't know. Like, I think I'm at the point where I don't really need to know anymore either, like what it's going to look like. I'm just going to trust that whatever opens up in front of me is the next step. So whether it's catapulting to the abyss, whether it's rolling down a meadow of flowers, if it's a slow burn or if it's a catastrophic bomb, like whatever it is, that's what I'm stepping up to, and I'm just willing to step into that next level. Another thing that I've been feeling into this week, aside from like the jog today, the pattern in my jog, I want to recap that. I promised myself that I would jog the whole thing without stopping, because usually I stop once or more than that. And I was like, nope, this time I'm just going to run the whole thing just because I can and just because I said so. It was like it's building. I have to say, like, I've been building so much evidence of how I can't that I'm like wanting to build evidence of how I can. So there's a level. It's discipline, but it's like it's belief. It's belief. It's self-belief is what it feels like more than discipline, because discipline feels like pushing something that's resisting, but self-belief feels like I'm pushing something that doesn't resist, which feels so much better. Yeah, so that feels good. And so I jogged the whole thing without stopping, and I even like gave myself a pep talk, and I was like, I am going to do this because I said I could do this, and I'm amazing, and I'm strong, and blah, blah, blah. And like while I'm jogging, I'm like talking to myself. And I asked my husband once to cheer me on, but I realized I really don't want to have to rely on him. I really want to just find that from within myself, at least right now in this moment, in this today. But I do recognize that having someone to champion you while you're championing yourself is really valuable. So that's something I'll be looking to kind of have on my team. Like first, I'm like the first one on my team. Obviously, no one can take that spot of championing myself. But that feels like that's what I'm really being called into in this new year, is like championing myself. That feels really good. But included with like the physical strength and endurance and like like breaking through to that next degree or that next level, there's also like the joy and light and laughter that I'm feeling called to step into. Like it's not just about like the getting in the arena and like sweating it out and like which it does feel like that too. It does feel like that marathon athletic, physically all in, that I'm being called into, but there also feels like this beautiful joy that gets to come along with it too. That feels really important, like the joy of creativity in my voice. And I've been recording some videos of me singing just to sing songs that like come out of my soul, and I will share those with you too. I've been saying I was going to share one of those videos and I haven't, so I will do that. Even though it feels vulnerable, I have so many judgments around my singing voice, and I'm healing that now too. And but it's, yeah, like I can feel some of the pain around the wound of my singing voice, but there's also like this excitement of like of reclaiming my singing voice, something that I've always had my whole life. Um, and that's something I've abandoned, uh, but that I'm getting to reclaim again, so that's exciting. Um, so I've just been picking up my ukulele, and I'm also like really embarrassed, and I have all this shame around how I'm not an amazing musician, and like how I fit all the stereotypes of like singers being bad musicians and la la la. And I'm just tired of that holding me back. Um, so yeah, so I've been just like playing on the piano and just enjoying the sounds of music, regardless of like my skill or my talent. And so that's been really medicinal and empowering. Um, yeah, so I'll be sharing that more. I want to share more of me just like in the process of reclaiming my strength. You know, whether it's like I just came from boxing or I just came from a jog and I didn't stop, or I, just did a dance class or yoga class, or all the things that make me feel alive and sexy and powerful and peaceful and grounded and connected to myself. Also, yeah, the ukulele and the piano and just singing with the harmonium and like things that like really just bring me so much joy and like life and light that I've just been holding back from myself and actually holding back from other people too. I mean, how could I share something with other people that I'm not even letting myself share with myself, right? Um, but yeah, mostly I've just gone about it by either collapsing or trying really hard, and that just led to a lot of pain and suffering. So for anybody who resonates, like I've certainly been there, and like there is a time and place for it all. I do think. How long we stay there, I think, is up to us, but we'll stay there as long as we need to be there. So, whether it takes you a year, 5 years, 10 years, or a lifetime, it's really perfect. Like, there's no faster way it should be. Um, you just go at the speed that you're at, like your own pace. But so it's a discovery of tuning into yourself and in your pace and what's ready next. But I'm definitely getting the like, I'm up against the like, this is it. We're at the moment of truth, and let's go for this. So that's an exciting place to finally be ready for, that I've been wanting to be ready for. But you're really not ready until you're ready. You can want to be ready. I'm a case in point. I've been wanting to be ready, and now I'm just ready. So that's cool. So I just wanted to share that for anyone who can relate to wherever you are on that journey. And maybe you're wishing that you're like really ready, and you're just like, yeah, just admitting that you're just wanting to be ready, and you'll know when you're ready. You just will when you've had enough. If you're resilient like I am, it might take a lot of your own BS to have enough of it, so to speak. Um, I feel like there's something else to say. Oh, just that like I did a great job this year. Like I served to the best of my ability this year. I did the best I could, and I made a difference for the clients that I did work with, and I made mistakes, and I learned from those mistakes, and it was like a richness and like a you know like a earning my stripes kind of feeling. Yeah, so this is the year where I'm just really like stepping into being proud of myself, championing myself, being proud of myself. I want to feel proud of myself again. And I already feel that moving in, so that's really sweet. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that. It's super vulnerable to share this, but that's just where I'm at, and it's just what's true right now. And frankly, I don't hear enough people talking about this out in the world. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one, so it helps to, I think, to tell other people that you're not the only one if you're out there listening. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this place that I'm stepping into, and I'm trusting what unfolds. And I think when I know I'm going to get confronted and bump up against these tendencies to collapse or try really hard, just keep coming back to my own strength and my own joy, right? Come back to the strength. And that's a lot of that I get physically. Come back to like anchoring with myself. I get a lot of that energetically with my meditation and prayer practices. And the joy I get from, music and from conversations with people, that meaningful conversations, connection with people, connecting to my body, my sexuality, my voice. Yeah, that's where the joy comes in. So like all of those things, it just it's like the creation of self, like soul, self that's backed up by my soul and by my human. Like I have my own back, not just from like a spiritual perspective, but also like very in a human grounded way. Like I've got my back, and that's been quite a journey to really get my human self on board with that. My human self is just like, man, felt like kind of like dragging its feet, but the light, like the spirit part of me is always like, you've got this. Like there was never any doubt there. It's always the kind of like the human grittiness, which is also part where some of the joy comes in, and the expression and the painfully beautiful part of this path that we walk. All right, I think that's all for now. Yeah, so the question for you is, where have you abdicated your power? Where have you stopped doing the things that make you feel strong? Where have you, and I don't mean by trying harder, I mean like strong, like in a very grounded, the next degree, like you get to the next degree, not the place where you stop, not the place where you try really hard and stop. I'm talking about that place where then you go to the next degree. That's where the real power is. And the joy of just creativity and connecting to your body and your sexuality and your voice. And what is that like for you? And where have you forgotten it or abandoned it? And I'll say one last thing. I guess part of me abandoned all of that because I was afraid to be abandoned by others. Like what if I show up with all my power, and it's still there, that fear. Honestly, that's what I'm, really in the inquiry for this next level is, you know, what if I show up with all my power and all of my joy, and others don't want me, like, and they don't want what I have to offer. And I think I just know that the first thing is like this irrefutable, like, I want me and I want what I have to offer. And like first claiming myself and championing myself, and then seeing, I can already feel that. And I can already feel moving in, like, of course, other people are going to want me and what I have to offer. Like, this is so rich and this is so magical and this is so powerful. And this is so true. Like, you can't not want. I mean, some people might not want what's true, but like it feels like too big. It feels too like universal truth for it to be in question of whether somebody will want it or not, or whatever, or like, will people like me or not? Like, it's just the questions start to dissolve in the face of something that just feels like it stands on its own. Yeah, I can really feel that coming in. So I feel that feels like a perfect place to land and end here. Hope it's valuable to those who tune in, and yeah, stay tuned because I will be sharing more of where I'm, building that strength and the joy and the creativity, and sharing all the ways that I connect to my spirit and my sex and my voice and my music and my power, and all the dimensions, physically, energetically, emotionally, how I'm really showing up with, holding myself, having my own back, from a spirit connection and from a human connection. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for tuning in, for those who tune in.